Hello teachers, this video will discuss how to create effective videos for asynchronous or student-paced instruction. The credit for the contents in this video goes to Catlin Tucker, who's the online and blended learning guru. You can see her website there for more. So when we're trying to decide what would work well as a video recording, Tucker's message is that if we're going to explain the same thing the same way to all students, then a pre-recorded video is a really good method of delivery. Pre-recorded video gives us a chance to deliver that solid Tier 1 instruction and modeling strategies to all students even when they're not able to participate in live learning. So there's several reasons to use teacher-made pre-recorded video. Certainly there's tons of videos available on YouTube, BrainPop, and so forth, but at other times we just can't find the perfect video for what students really need to know in our course. Teacher-made videos allow us to have a laser focus on what students really need to know to master those priority learning standards. Even if in a face-to-face learning environment, short videos have advantages. Students can control the pace at which they process the information with the ability to rewatch concepts they need more time to master. Also, students who transfer into the class late have access to prior learning to help close some of those gaps. Now for teachers, pre-recorded video also has benefits. Teachers do not have to repeat the same explanation multiple times. They can refer students to those videos, and that gives them more time to offer students feedback on their work. So how can pre-recorded videos be used? There's several ways in which they can be done effectively when done in small chunks. This can include lectures in the classroom. However, we want to make sure the focus is very narrow so that they're easy for our students to digest. You may have a mini lesson to preface an activity that you would normally do in the classroom. You also might want to explain a strategy or model something to make your thought process as a teacher visible to your students. For example, you might have a think out loud video for your kids on how to read a primary source using a strategy such as SOAPS, Optic, or Hippo before you ask them to do a strategy like that on their own at home. Videos are also helpful to onboard students to a new technological tool for your course. If you're not sure if they'll grasp it, then it's a good idea for you to create a video walking through those steps to train your kids. Videos are also a great way to deliver instructions for the day's assignment, which can benefit students and parents alike. Now let's look at some things to keep in mind when creating our own videos for students. A good place to start is creating a Google slide deck to plan what content will be in your video. As you're creating the slide deck, there are some important things to keep in mind to create an effective educational video. The first is this idea of segmenting or chunking to focus on small bits of new information. It's more effective to create more or several short video segments rather than one long video. You might also prompt students to answer questions, such as your guiding question attached to your day's objective. The second is signaling and cueing, thinking about how we can draw our students' eye to the concepts we're currently explaining on the slide, such as putting boxes, highlighting, or underlining. This idea of weeding speaks to eliminating any information or visuals that are not necessary. This might be busy backgrounds with lots of colors or lines or noises. We want all of our visuals to support the content we want students to learn. This last idea of matching modalities to consider what students are hearing and supporting that with what students are seeing. In other words, are we showing what we're explaining? So there was a study done to see if there's an ideal time that we should be striving for in these videos. What do you notice about student attention span to our videos? We see at 6 to 9 minutes, our students' attention span decreases. So the study found 6 minutes to be the sweet spot for video length. If you find yourself in a situation in which you have more content to cover than that 6 to 9 minute range, the recommendation is to chunk the content into smaller videos, allowing students to do something with the content in between to keep them engaged. Now we're going to look at a 3-step process for creating your video content. Once you've decided which tool you'll use, such as Google Slides, you will want to focus on a single concept, objective, or skill per video. It's a good idea to explicitly state this objective at the beginning of your video. Limit your text to bullet points or phrases, keeping in mind that you will be able to expand verbally in the recording. Include examples, but if it's text-heavy example, it's a good idea to cue students, saying something like, you don't need to write this down, it's just an example. Also add purposeful media such as charts, graphs, maps. The social studies unit curriculum guides are a really good place to pull slides and media from and then adapt from there to plan your video. The idea here is to strive for clear, simple, yet visually compelling content. So the second step is adding animation. This is where we get really intentional in thinking about that cueing and signaling of information so that students are following along with our explanations. So this includes underlining or boxing keywords or phrases, inserting arrows to point to parts of an image or a graphic as we're explaining them, and then to animate bulleted information so it appears as you're talking about it. That way your students are following along with your explanation. So here's a social studies example in which I could record myself doing a think out loud about how to read the different parts of a map. I could have the text boxes pop up as I'm talking about each of these features of the map. And you'll see, oh, here's the key here. What information is there? I noticed this word fertile. Not sure what that means, fertile, and then I can show the definition. So this might be followed by an activity in which students answer some questions or make connections with another map. Your third step is to record a screencast. As you may have seen in the Schoology follow-up training earlier this week produced by the Tech Coaches, Northside teachers will have access to Screencastify, which is a tool to create your own videos. So Screencastify will allow you to show your screen to your students as you record, just as I'm doing now. You can also toggle that webcam feature on so that students can see your face as a small picture-in-picture. Now, when you're recording, it doesn't need to be perfect. Live instruction rarely is either, so give yourself some grace. And there's a screencast tutorial on the Google Slides deck after this video to learn more. A couple more tips for recording. Keep your tone conversational and upbeat and keep it moving. Avoid that temptation to talk too slowly. If kids need it to be slower, they can change the speed in which it plays back, and they can rewind and rewatch. Also stay enthusiastic. Just like in the classroom, in a virtual setting, the students will feed off of your energy. And remember to use media strategically to make your points clear. So now it's time for you to give it a try. So I invite you to start creating your own Google Slides to plan for a video over a topic that might be in your third week of instruction. So you can look at the unit curriculum guide and the slides that you already have as a start. To start pulling some slides that you think you might be able to use in a teacher-directed video. There's also a template in the slide deck after this video that you might be able to use to frame your thinking. Now, as you're doing this task, make sure to keep the text and visuals simple, to use small chunks, to use signaling and cueing methods, and to use purposeful visuals.